Okay, so sorry I didn't do the webinar Friday. We're going to go ahead and go over what I was going to talk about on Friday. Mostly, I've been getting requests for like a quick. My connection's been up and down. AT&T is starting to offer. Sorry, this is a question. Just if you don't know if you're watching this, there is a live chat room going on, so I will stop and answer questions, get off topic, and babble away. My connection's been shit, but AT&T is bringing in Uverse to our neighborhood, so I am hopefully going to be able to ditch Time Warner because I am sick of their shit. My bill has gotten up to almost $200 a month, and they're like, we're sorry. They did that shit in New York too. They bought out Comcast, and immediately they jacked up the prices. And down here they had no competition, and AT&T slowly coming in, but I don't want to wait for them to decide that we have competition and lower prices. Okay, so back to what I was doing. We're going to be taking a look at, I have 4 charts open. They're all the majors. This is cable, euro, USD, JPY, and AUD, USD. Those are the 4 pairs I use. So out of the 4 pairs, like AUD USD is looking nice right now. It's staying within a range. It might potentially be breaking out of the range right now, but it's nice and flat. This is the type of, if you're doing reversal tradings, this is the type of chart you want to be looking at. If we go to cable, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give AUD USD like an 8 or a 9. Cable looks kind of funky, as you can see that, if we want to call it, the structure on it is off. It's not really, it's ranging. We can see the range from, where's my drawing buttons, man? We can see that it's being contained in a range from here. It is slowly moving upwards. It has an upward trend. That's why down here it says call stronger. So if we're being safe, I'd give this one like a 6 or a 7, but I'd be looking for calls on overbought, oversold. Let's see if I can get rid of this box. God, I hate these. I can never get rid of them. Anyway, let's move on. This is Euro USD. This one isn't a definite uptrend. So if we're doing TA style trading or reversal trading, you want to avoid the shit out of something like this. It's a definite uptrend. So, I mean, this I'd give like a 2, maybe a 1, max a 3, but most likely a 1 or a 2. And it's not something we want to be trading. And lastly, we got USD JPY. Again, we got the USD. I don't like because all these small candles in here, and it's just kind of consolidating. If we zoom out on it once, overall it does look nice because you can see the range. It broke here and it was contained. You can see that it was an upwards trend, and now it's here and it's in a consolidation. So I would give this one like a 5 or a 6. It's nothing great either. We could probably pull some heavy confluence trades out of it, but let's look into our confluence zone. Our confluence zone, if we don't know, is here. Where price is moving in right now, we have 0 institutional confluence. So that would probably drop this down to like a 4. So out of the charts we have, AUD USD is the one that's looking good at the moment. In 30 minutes, the US Open's going to pop, and that could change everything. So that pretty much sums it up for like what I do for the morning. I guess you could say I rate my charts on what I want to be looking at, and AUD USD is the one looking the best so far. Now if we go to cable again, it has what USD JPY doesn't go in for it. We do have a bunch of institutional levels right here on the right, but if we look at UJ, it has nothing where price is. So right now this is pretty much an ignore, because even if we did get an alert, we have nothing to base our decision off of except for pure price action. Let's see if I can get rid of that box. Let's look for rectangle. PQ. Oops, excuse me. So that's step 1. We want to pick out the charts that are going to work the best for us. The biggest mistake I see is people not doing this step. They just go straight by indicator alerts, and they don't take a look at the charts first and say, well, which charts do I really want to pay attention to? Now, if you're really, really stressing and you want some trades, you could go through your broker, look and see what other pairs they have. I stick to the majors because they are, how could you say, they're the most predictable. They have the biggest mass mentality going on with them. If you go to an exotic, it might look nice and all of a sudden it spikes out. Like, for instance, NZD, USD, AUD, NZD, things like that. They're fun to watch, but they're hard to predict because they do get a lot of random movements in them. So let's say 5% of the time more my majors behave when the minors and the exotics don't. That helps my ITM by 5%. I will say over the last 2 weeks I was doing this to a point, but I was taking trades off something like this. So that was just totally screwing up my mojo. I did have a question. I don't use the cog. What I'm using, and for the hell of it on this one, is... Where the fuck is it? It is MTF Fractal. It's a multi-time frame fractal. You can see how there's one dot here and one dot here. It's because over 2 time frames this line is holding. So it's just basically it's doubling up on my fractals. What I use fractals to see lower lows, higher lows when they're breached. If a higher high is breached, for instance, this candle here breached this higher high, then I know it's a warning sign that price is probably going to continue up. This candle was our warning candle right here. Here, let me show you. So this was our warning candle. Does everyone get why this was a warning candle and how that I use these little fractals to see that? Let's say this was it and I wanted to take a reversal off it. Automatically, if we look to the right, there's no confluence on it, so we're going to toss that trade. If there was confluence on it, the candle went up to here. Why was it a warning candle? If we go, I'll draw a line, and we'll see. I'm going to draw it on the tops of these candles. It closed higher than the tops of these candles. Sorry, let me answer it in Skype. But that was our warning candle. So if taking into effect that there is absolutely zero confluence again here, and the fact that that was a warning candle, it's a big sign that says stay the hell out of that trade unless you feel confident in trend trading it. Now, for me, this would not be a trend trade. Could anyone guess why? Why wouldn't I trend trade this? Let's see if I can help you out. Let's take a look at the chart in another way. Holy hell, that's just a mess. Let's clean it up a little. Delete. Okay. And let's zoom in one. Okay, so the reason I would say I wouldn't take it as a trend trade, and this was the candle we were looking at, is this is itchy. What's it doing? It's going green. It's flip-flopping back and forth. If we zoom out again, the colors are flip-flopping back and forth, back and forth. So what it means is we don't have a shit ton of momentum. So for me, I would not trend trade it. I would stay the hell away from it. And let's go back to the template. TA. So again, this candle here, because we don't have momentum, like the market isn't specifically moving up or down, it's showing no general strength, it's ranging. It's a pass on a reversal trade because it did clear a new higher high, but I wouldn't trend trade it because I don't see enough momentum going up. Now, Euro isn't perfect, but it is a little bit of a mess. So let's say we're looking at Euro. We decide this is shit, we're not going to reversal trade it, but we want to trend trade it. How could we trend trade this? Any suggestions? Well, the first thing we'd want to look at is we have the same principle going on. We know that it's going higher, higher. Here's a high, then a higher high, higher high. It does dip back down, and then price moves up to here. So what's the first thing here? This is our somewhat warning candle and a bigger one. This one was most likely our overbought, oversold. It should have been a warning one because we knew we were in an upwards trend, and then the trend really took off. So this one here would have been probably not enough information to be able to trade off of. So we would watch the momentum come up. Now, the thing you want to do once you know that momentum's forming is we could do this right here, and this is a pretty easy one to see. We wait for a pullback. We want the pullback to go overbought, oversold, which this one did it and this one didn't. So let's focus on this one and see if there's anything we could do with it. Let's see, let me mark. This is our first overbought, oversold, right here. All we had on it was daily 50100. Overbought, oversold. So we had only one level of confluence on it. Make sure I am on the right candle. So it would have been kind of risky to take. It wouldn't have been a great one. What I would look for is price. If it dropped back down to an area that looked like this, with a daily pivot, a weekly pivot, and a monthly, a Murray math line, then we could look at saying, yes, I'll get into it. Otherwise, unless you know how to trend trade, I would stay out of this type and wait for a pullback that's overbought, oversold with some good confluence. It's basically the same TA rules or confluence rules. You're just waiting for a pullback to a good confluence zone. It's overbought, oversold, and we're going with the trend. Now, so we have an upwards trend. It dropped, moved up, dropped, and moved up. This was a news candle, I believe, right here. Let's see, it's 808, 8, 55, 50, 45, 40. Actually, this was the news candle area, but this was within the news candle area that moved it up. So what do we have forming right now? We're in an upwards trend, so let's just, so we can talk about it a little bit. We're in an upwards trend. We're not overbought, oversold. If price closes higher than all these, what could we potentially look at? And you see how it's sputtering out right here? We're getting consolidation. This level's holding it. It peaked up to here. Price came up and tested it, got rejected, and now price is coming up and testing it again. And so this is basically what to look at when you're on a shitty day. So prices, so far, we got what left on this candle? 17, 16 seconds. This is a no touchy because it did not breach above those two other previous swing highs or higher highs. And what we look like we're getting is a rejection on it again. So whatever orders are sitting there are still holding steady. It's not breaching above that. On a more interesting, we can look at it on a 1 minute. And here's what we see was going on. Here was our higher high, and then this area here is holding. Here's the 1 minute, and it might shoot up to here, might not. Now, on the right-hand side, we have no confluence, so this would be something to watch to see if it's going to shoot up higher. But what's going to happen is there's probably orders sitting here, and it's going to take a while for price to come up, get rejected, come up, get rejected, or when the U.S. opens, this thing's just going to tank, and the U.S. The strength of the U.S. Open is going to take over the direction of it. But let's go back to 5. And we can check it on the 15. Yeah, you can use higher time frames. On the higher time frame, you can see this is just a straight up trend. I mean, it's a little odd, but the 5 minute didn't show it clearly. The 15 minute shows it clearly. This isn't a straight up, not straight up trend, but it's in a pretty strong uptrend. But we still, on the right hand side, we have nothing. We have a monthly high, and this is the first of the month, so it's worthless, and a weekly high, it's Monday. This is worthless. These are current market conditions. Even a monthly high right now, because it's the beginning of the month, these are worthless. So here's our 15 minute. If it breaches higher, it has room to run about 15 pips up. So for me, watching Euro would be interesting for a trend trade only. Let's go back to 5 so we can see. And switching time frames will help you a bit, because I mean the 15 there made it very clear what was going on. Where the 5 minute we can see a little bit of bouncing around, it might not be so clear. And the 1 minute also shows you. Now what the 1 minute will hint you in on is that if the 1 minute starts clearing above here, that it might possibly be, and the one we're interested in is over here. But if it closes higher than these, then we immediately would want to go to the 5 minute and watch for it to bust above this one, which this one is this one here. But right now it's just dicking around. Like I said, it looks like it's consolidating again. We got 18 minutes till US Open. So on Euro, that's what I'm looking for. That's a trend chart. Now UJ, I'm not interested in. This is shit right here. I don't want to touch this. If you traded this, it would be stupid. And I'm not saying that to be a dick or anything. Trading the UJ, in my opinion, would be stupid. We don't have any type of structure, really. We could go to 1 minute and look for structure, but look on the 1 minute. It's all consolidated. And this is a 1 minute chart. You should see some movement. Instead, we have a what? This is a high, and this is the lowest low I can find. That's a 10 pip range on a 1 minute chart. That's just untradeable for me. Does everyone see why on this one? This is just shit to trade, and you'd want to avoid this chart. And then our happy-go-lucky chart over here. This is AUD USD. Again, this is still my favorite chart for the day. Any questions, anything? Because I'm going to need a refill on coffee. Recording-wise, I'm probably going to halt that. I just wanted to give a quick what I'm looking for. I'm going to do not baby recordings. I'm going to try and do some short recordings each morning just to show things of what I'm looking for. So this is just going to be the first short recording for the week. It's basically going to be a review also for the TA guys to help get you back in. I guess I'll close it out with a little bit of word of advice. I had a shit 2 weeks. Not total shit. Like 2 weeks ago, that week was I had a death in the family, so that might have affected my trading too. I'm gonna say it did affect it because blah. But then I thought I recovered. Blah. I reviewed all my charts on Friday, and then the next week I actually had a 7% loss. Even reviewing those trades, some of them were completely idiotic and stupid, but what happened to me is I broke money management. So tomorrow I think what we'll focus on is money management and revenge trading, things like that, because I would have had an acceptable loss last week. Like my acceptable is a 5% loss. The very last trade I took for last week, I actually martingaled, and I haven't done that in a long time, so there was definitely something wrong with my head going into that week. But I think tomorrow's a brief little one. We're going to look at money management again. This week, like I said, I'm still going to be trading just to make sure that I got my head back in check. I'm going to be trading minimal sizes, probably 1 and 3%. I'm not going to touch any 5% trades because of the last 2 weeks. Trying to think if there's anything else. That pretty much sums it up, guys. Like I said, I'm going to try and do short recordings this week, review step by step what we're looking at for trades. We did have, this was overbought, oversold, monthly pivot was hit, but let's look, current market conditions, it's in the middle of the Bollinger Bands, our hourly FIBOs, it's in the middle. So, not that great a trade. We can look and see there's a support and resist here, and if we go back, there's a little bit of, well, this is a support, resist, support. If you can't see it, switch to your line charts, we can see that something is there, and that it might drop there because but again, it's middle of market conditions, of current market conditions, with one institutional. So it's a pass. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording again, guys. Tomorrow we're going to go over money management. Basically, we'll take little baby steps all week to get me back in the swing of things and cover some common questions. We'll be going over entry, money management, and anything else that comes up that I think will help out. Revenge trading, yeah, that'll be included tomorrow. Alright, guys, hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll be live, but I'm going to stop the recording.